Hello and welcome. In this video we're gonna review the Aoostar Maco 6850H that was sent to me by Aoostar. They had no influence over the content of this video and did not preview it before publication. Everything that I show here reflects my honest and unbiased opinion. And with this out of the way, let's unbox it. This unit comes with 24GB of LPDDR5X soldered memory and no SSD included. The CPU is an AMD Ryzen 7 Pro 6850H, which is a Zen 3 Plus processor from the Rembrandt lineup. The processor is featuring 8 cores and 16 threads, which are paired with a Radeon 680M integrated GPU. The build quality overall feels solid with a clean and understated design, which is suitable for desk or server use. The box itself is pretty minimal, but feels premium and everything is well packed and protected. Inside the box you will find a power adapter, power cable, some documentation, an HDMI cable, and 3 SSD heatsinks, which are good for keeping the temperature down of the SSDs. No storage is included, which is allowing for a full customization of your storage needs. Opening the Maco 6850H is straightforward. It's just 4 screws and you're inside. Once inside, you can immediately see what this machine is really about. The RAM is soldered and you can't upgrade that later, so you are stuck with the 24GB. But on the storage side, things get very interesting. This unit is supporting 3 NVMe M.2 drives, which is an excellent amount for a PC of this size. In my setup, I installed one 1TB PCIe Gen 4 NVMe drive and two 256GB PCIe Gen 3 NVMe drives. We also have an Intel AX200 Wi-Fi 6 card, which is supporting the 160 MHz channels, and this is perfectly fine for most users. Now there is something worth mentioning for more advanced use cases. If you plan to use this as a server or as a Homelab, you can actually remove the M.2 Wi-Fi card and using an adapter gain support for a 4th NVMe drive. This will be a bit tight, it might play with the temperatures, but it should work. This makes this machine surprisingly flexible for storage heavy or virtualization workloads. Now let's quickly go over the ports and connection of this mini PC. Starting from the front, we have two USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type A, one USB-C and one audio jack. If we now move around the back, we get a solid selection of ports, including two USB 2 Type A, one USB 4 and two 2.5 gigabit Ethernet. We have also HDMI and a display port. On the side, we also have an OCuLink port, which is a very nice addition. This opens the door for things like external PCIe devices, eGPUs, or high-speed storage expansions. If we go to the top, we have our power button with an integrated fingerprint reader. And I will say that overall, this port selection is very good for both productivity and more advanced setups. Let's move on to some benchmarking. Starting with the storage performance, here is the CrystalDiskMark results. First, the PCIe Gen 3 drives, which are rating exactly the speed that you'd expect, and then the PCIe Gen 4 drives, which are also performing right in line with the advertised specification of this drive. There are no bottlenecks here, storage performance is solid, and the temperatures are within spec, even without any heatsink. Moving on to Cinebench 2024, the Maco scores 628 points in multi-core and 80 points in single-core, which is right in line with other systems using the Ryzen 7 6850H. Running 3DMark Firestrike with default Windows 11 and factory settings, where the GPU only gets 512 MB of shared memory, we get a score of only 5353, which is not so good for this kind of processor. But after a quick BIOS tweak, allocating 8 GB of memory to the GPU, the score jumps to 6201, which puts it exactly where you'd expect compared to similar machine with the same iGPU. Always using 3DMark, but this time the TimeSpy benchmark, the system scores 2496 points, again perfectly in line with other results for similar hardware. On the productivity side, I use PCMark 10 benchmark, which gives us a score of 6135. This is a very strong result for a compact productivity focused machine like this one. Throughout all these tests, you could see the thermals on screen, and under stress testing, the CPU temperature stayed very well around the 80 degrees. and PCMark 10 was the one that pushed it a bit further with highest recorded temperature of about 88 degrees. At idle, the CPU sits comfortably between 45 and 50 degrees, and I think that this is a very reasonable temperature for this small form factor. In terms of noise, this mini PC is very quiet at idle, and under full CPU load, the fan noise is increased by about 10 decibel over the base noise level. It is not annoying during normal use, but when pushed hard, it is definitely audible and could bother you in a very quiet room. So overall, this is a great mini PC for productivity. I personally run a very similar system with the same CPU for a Homelab using Proxmox, and it's been excellent. This one might actually be a bit better thanks to its very solid thermal performance. I did not personally test many games in this system, but based on available data online, the 680M iGPU is capable of light gaming at 1080p, especially for esport titles or older games. Just don't expect any AAA game performance. If you're looking for a compact, efficient machine for work, virtualization or home lab, the Aoostar Maco 6850H is definitely worth considering, especially now that the RAM prices are very high and 24GB of soldered memory are incredible. Then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.